Hi, everyone. It is Sunday, the 4th of September, 2022, and this is the Morgellons Call of the Week, and we're about to enter our Q&A section where people can ask questions about supplements, shooting themselves in the foot, or anything else that's on their mind. Okay, take it away.
Yes. Okay, Robin. Mary, I forgot to ask you during the how many people that joined the call said they were taking a multiple vitamin? I forgot to ask you that.
There weren't that many people that wanted to talk, and
Quiet group, huh?
out of 3 people, let's see, only one is taking your vitamin, and that's Nick with his success.
Okay.
Me.
Right.
Well, yeah, and me. I have
Yes.
reaction.
So, yeah, my God, people, do not keep shooting yourself in the foot. Get that multiple vitamin. You know, any of those ingredients that I read in the first portion of this segment are going to be shooting yourself in the foot. You are not going to make this diet work without extreme difficulty. Okay. So before I we sometimes get technical here again, so let me be repetitive and inform everybody. The FDA requires me to inform everybody that before you start the King Diet, accept any of our recommendations, discuss them thoroughly with your doctor to make sure they do not interfere with any health problems. The AMA, American Medical Association, requires us to inform you that we are not trained physicians. Therefore, we will not diagnose you, we will not treat, cure, or mitigate any organic disease. We can educate you how to use the King Diet to your benefit, health, and well-being, how to clean the organisms out of your skin and out of your environment, and how to build health and immune functioning through targeted supplements. Okay, Chris, do we have any questions?
Hi, thank you so much. I appreciate all the information. I just started this. I just got the emails and stuff a couple days ago and had to go out and buy some ammonia. But I just had it tested for Lyme disease and H. pylori, and they both came back negative. So I don't know if there's a specific test I need to ask for.
No, testing is a waste of time. It's better just to assume that you fit in and you probably have Lyme disease. And as I said in the section number 1, it's no big deal because with the right supplements and build right health and immune functioning, boom, it's a non-issue, unlike it was for me 12 years ago. Now, what made it a non-issue for me 12 years ago is that's about the time I learned of Max 1. It may be 13 years ago. Max 1 is a product to boost glutathione. Glutathione is something I never ever heard about in my entire life, even though I operated a stress management facility for nearly 20 years, and I did a lot of nutritional counseling with, hypoglycemia, how to avoid that, and how to identify food sensitivities, and how to supplement your diet with different supplements. So even though I was supposedly in the know, I wasn't. I was about as ignorant as a fence post when it came to glutathione. And when I started taking glutathione, within about 6 weeks, my symptoms of Lyme disease, which were at 100, God, the inflammation of the knees was so painful I could barely drive a car. I couldn't even put my foot on the foot pedal. I had to use a stick to manipulate the foot pedal with my hand because my knees were so bad. I could not write my name because my motor skills were shot. It was 24/7. Now, one thing that glutathione does is it reduces toxicity. It's a detoxifier. And the research says that Lyme disease, the spirochete, loves a bath of toxicity. The more toxicity you have in your cellular structure, the happier and the healthier the spirochetes are. So with a normal dose of 2 capsules a day, which is the maintenance amount for Max 1, and taking minerals and vitamins, within 6 weeks, my symptoms reduced by 95%, upon which I was very healthy. And then I had the good fortune of happening upon allicin, acillin. I don't know how it's really pronounced, but it's in our Garcillin product, and I added that. And I took 1 capsule, and within hours, the inflammation returned like never before. It's like I never got rid of Lyme disease. It was back in my mind, 100%. Inflammation, so painful. And then I realized it was a detox reaction. And I purchased the massage pillow on Amazon, put it under the lymphatics on my knee to start draining. And Garcillin was the other part that took me from 95% to 99.9%. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work this way for everybody, but believe me, it's worked this way for a lot of people in this program. And there are other complications to Lyme disease. There's amoebas and things like that. And I have a book that gets into that. It's called Lyme Disease Doesn't Have to Own You Anymore, and it's absolutely free. It goes into all the standard techniques. It goes into detox reactions. It goes into how to avoid detox reactions. It goes into the basic nutritional package that I talked about that everybody, in my mind, should be on, in which case they may need no further medical treatment. Now, of course, if you have certain other complications, there are medications like Mepron and things like that that can be beneficial that that show up in tests. But generally, with this nutritional package, Lyme disease becomes history. Yes, Robin.
I just want to say, the thing about testing is that they're highly inaccurate, and the really good tests, even those are inaccurate and they're not covered by insurance. But if you want to go the doctor route and you find a Lyme literate doctor who bases it on symptoms, a lot of them are open to the King diet. They like the King diet supplements, and they will add other things. I mean, so a Lyme literate doctor will treat you based on symptoms if you have serious Lyme symptoms.
The only place we recommend is Fry Labs in Arizona, where they do, I believe, last I checked, microscopy. And in my opinion, for what it's worth, I think that's the only test that's 100%, the microscopy, because they can actually see, and you'll see in the book, I don't know what page it is, but there are photographs of the results that came back from my microscopy, and you can see the little organisms coming out of the red blood cells and invading. So, okay, thank you for your question.
Oh, thank you. Just one more real quick. Is it the consensus, does everybody have this, where there's a ton of little white things all of a sudden, and like little black specks in lint? I didn't even know what it was.
Yeah,
the
answer to your question is complete the questionnaire and send it in, because if you go back in the blog on Mother's Day, there is an update that I produced, and it's about all the cofactors that come along with Morgellons disease. Okay, Morgellons disease is only characterized by filaments and fibers growing from the skin or the lesions. And those filaments and fibers can be microscopic in size, or they can be big and very large. They can move, they can be different colors. So there are maybe dozens of variations of these filaments that are growing from your skin that are comprised of collagen and keratin, all right? That is Lyme disease. That is Morgellons. Anything else is some other complication. Now, complications can be Lyme disease. It can be varieties of mites. It can be Strongyloides cervicalis. It can be intestinal parasites. In fact, I spoke with a doctor in Europe a couple of years ago, and at that point, in his mind, Morgellons was helminths. That's worms, That's where so it seems that all the experts get pigeonholed into thinking that Morgellons is, for instance, rosebush disease, pheromones. Can't pronounce it, but it's in that update. Some get, actually, if you're doing a scouring of the web, there's one person or some that think that Morgellons is a concrete eating organism. And I mean, there are all these different cofactors, but they are not Morgellons. They simply are cofactors that suddenly, when Morgellons comes to the scene, become massive in their impact on the human body. And those cofactors are necessary to get rid of. Fungal. I mean, there are many people who claim that Morgellons is fungal. Without a doubt, it's fungal. Well, it's a cofactor. Morgellons is not, in my opinion, fungal. There's no proof that I've seen that says it is fungal. And there are many different types of fungal organisms that we deal with. And the protocol that we have pretty well takes care of most of these cofactors. So we cover it from A to Z, so that if you look at a chessboard, the king is the most important piece, but not necessarily the most powerful. The queen, the rook, the bishops, the knight, the pawns, they all have power. In fact, a pawn can take a king if the situation is right. Okay, so these other factors are what become the perfect storm for Morgellons. Now, a lot of things that also contribute to these cofactors, for instance, intestinal parasites you can have for decades and have no issues. Live in symbiosis with them, no big deal. They're happy, you're happy, no big deal. And then suddenly they become a big issue when Morgellons comes to the forefront. So we take care of all these different cofactors when we're looking at Morgellons.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Appreciate it.
Yes, Robin.
Also, the little black dots or specks, I mean, they could be mites, but a lot of times when you look at them under a very strong magnifying glass or a microscope, they're just like little fibers all stuck together.
That is very, very strange and interesting because, unless you have some kind of scope, it's really difficult to tell whether those black specks are indeed dead mites or neatly compressed little filaments in a little ball. So it could go either way there. And many times people cannot see the filaments growing from their skin. And yet, if you look around and find fuzzballs, cotton-like, lint-like substances, without any reasonable explanation, that's a good indication that they're collecting and showing up as fuzzballs. That's my opinion. There are people that would disagree with me. Okay, who's next, Chris?
I tend to stick with the stuff in the store, your multivitamin and stuff like that. I'm afraid to use any other kind of outside vitamins because I don't know what it's going to do. Set it back off, and I had to I'm successly got it dormant where I got my life back, but I had to stick with that diet, which wasn't easy for me. I mean, whatever they told me to do, in the book, suggestions by Robin or yourself, I did. I mean, if they told me to eat a bunch of garlic, I did it. If they told me to chop up, with eggs, I did it. I did whatever I had to do to get my life back.
Make the diet work. It was worth it, wasn't it? Thank you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Thank you. Okay, who's next, Chris?
What is your take, or do you have information about the HOCl generators that many folks are getting benefit from cleaning their environment. I wanted to know if you know anything about that for springtails or, any of the mites.
Is that hypochlorous acid?
I'm sorry, excuse me?
Is that hypochlorous acid?
All
right,
you could purchase it,
Yeah, I don't think, the ozone guy on Ozone Forever, he claims that hypochlorous acid and his ozone generator is going to wipe out mites. And I've known Mike for years, and I haven't really spoke to him recently, but I disagree, mainly because I haven't gotten a lot of feedback from people who use hypochlorous acid that it is. In fact, I was really hoping, because ammonia is terrible. It has odor. There's many good reasons to get rid of ammonia. It's a neurotoxin, and I was hoping that hypochlorous acid would be the answer. And I haven't seen enough people benefit from it to say, yes, go get and let's do hypochlorous. Now, if we have 5 or 10 people write me and say, hey, wow, that's the answer, it works better than, hey, I'm the first person to promote it. But I don't really see that. It's like people say ivermectin. Here's another thing. Everybody with these organisms of Morgellons goes looking for ivermectin. And, hey, for years, I've not seen people getting results from ivermectin. It's a status quo. Now, for those of you who are unfamiliar with it, ivermectin is a medical treatment used for getting rid of worms, intestinal worms, and it's a treatment that's done over a period of a few days, and that's it. You can repeat the treatment, but it's not necessarily a good thing to stay on it, although there are people who say you can, and there are people who say, well, it could have consequences with your liver. So there I go with fenbendazole as being far more effective in the long run than ivermectin. So they both basically do a similar thing. However, if you're dealing with maybe strongyloides, ivermectin maybe have benefit over for fenbendazole. So again, I have not gotten a lot of feedback that says the hypochlorous is the way to go. Yes, Rob.
Okay, so at this point,
I just looked it up while you were talking, and an article published by the NCBI concludes that it does not kill adult Demodex mites or springtails except in the nymph stage.
Yeah.
So it's limited then, right? Thank you.
Right.
If
it works, it's limited.
Right.
It's limited. So in other words, it's not the end all be all, but it's an adjunct. I mean, it can be supportive, I guess. It depends upon what you're.
Well, if you're going to be treating an area, you don't want to be doing it twice. You just want to do what's going to work. So that's where I recommend. I mean, it would be silly to treat the hypochlorous and then go back and treat the same area with ammonia or one of the disinfectants in our store.
Right.
I mean, I go for the kill, not for numbing them. I mean, you can use Lysol too. Lysol will numb them, but it's not going to kill them.
I see. So so it's not really worth to focus on it then.
No, not in my opinion.
I would focus on dehumidifiers and air purifiers.
Right, basically over that. Okay, well, I appreciate it. Could I ask another really quick question? Is it
sure.
Okay? Real quickly. What about, there are a lot of folks that say that the reishi mushroom doesn't affect, it could be helpful for many people, but it's a mushroom product and it's, mold derivative. What is your take on the reishi mushroom?
Well, I don't know about necessarily that particular mushroom. I do know that, the black mushroom, the red mushroom, I know are okay. So any food that is not listed in the book in the King Diet as either to eat or not eat, it's up to you to test it. And how you test it is you make the diet work. You get to where you feel zero, if any, symptoms at all right? and maintain that for a couple of days. And then have the mushroom and see if you react within 20 minutes. Now, if you, well, yeah, or a week, but that would be like if you make the diet work for a week or two, and then it's difficult to test the food because it may take you a week to react to it. So when you get the diet working for you, you want to test all the foods that are not listed one way or another within a week or two, because you want to know within minutes or days, at least 1 or 2 days if it's a problem food. So you don't want to wait until you've been free of activity for 2 or 3 weeks to test the food. It could take you a week to react to it.
And everybody's so different too, right? I mean, we're all,
Well, it's a delayed response. Everybody has that happen because you'll get free and you'll be on cloud 9 and you'll go out and you'll have a marinated steak, not thinking. You're thinking you're just having beef and realize later that damn steak was marinated and you won't have a reaction at all. And then 7 days later, it happens out of the middle of nowhere. And then you have to think back. You got, that steak was marinated.
Right.
Okay.
Most folks have no clue when they have symptoms what's going on. Yeah.
Well, that's why you have to be on top of what you're eating and write down what you're eating. And if you don't have a great super memory, you need to write it all down so you can look back. Right. Okay.
It takes discipline. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Coming back. Who's next, Chris?
I'm new to I've seen many Gmails. Thank you so much for sending them. I just decided today that I would listen, and I'm so glad I did. But I have 2 things. One is a question, and I'm in this for 4 years now, and I've been able to kind of cope up until now, but my arms over the last 2 years, and I've told my dermatologist, I don't know, umpteen times, Doc, that's not crepe. There's something under there. There are bubbles. And I'm right, and they're all coming out now, little white things. And I don't know, I do have a yeast. I have Candida albicans, I'm quite sure. And I'm not getting any treatment or anything. My toenails are falling off, my fingernails. And I need to find a doctor somewhere in my vicinity. I'm so scared to tell a doctor now what goes on with me because
Cindy, everything you're experiencing is right in our purview. Everything you're experiencing. If you complete the questionnaire, do you have the questionnaire? When you downloaded the book, there should have been a questionnaire there for you too. If not, send me an email.
Sorry, I didn't download the book yet. I don't have enough money to get it right now.
The book is free.
Free to download.
The book is free.
Oh, okay.
And
I will
get better if you start the diet and the protocols in the book.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not good. I eat sugars and all these things, and I'm like, these
so
people. Okay, so I have. Okay, so and if we're not crazy after a year, I don't know why not. I mean, this is such a crazy disease, but when you talk about the filaments and the fibers coming from the skin or sores, I do have those. I have tons of them in my hair, the live ones, and I sometimes tape them and watch them and film them. And what I see, amazingly now, is light. It's like a laser light show. 2 of them together, and I know this sounds wild, but I have it on film. The lights go up and down.
Cindy, all of this, you go on just about any Facebook group about Morgellons, and you're going to see all this stuff. My first thing is stop it. Get rid of it. Get rid of your camera. Get rid of that crap. It's of no good. Focus on the diet. Focus on making that diet work. The diet is free. It doesn't cost you a thing. In fact, feeding yourself on...
Yeah, I would give anything to be able to. It's all over my house. I've got fungus mold. Anyway, I will do that because it can get compulsive.
Yeah, chapter 3 goes into everything you need to do. So your first job is download the book. If you can't get it, email me back.
I can get it.
Any email that comes to you, you can return to me, and I will attach the book for you and the diet. So let's get you on the things that work. All right, and throw away the microscopes and the cameras.
To talk to. Okay.
And we actually.
It gets compulsive. Thank you so much. I'll cut off now. But is it every Sunday that you do this?
Every Sunday, and later on, when we stop recording, we'll give the numbers of our coaches. Nick is somebody that you might want to talk with. He's a wonderful guy, and he can help you through it as well. Okay?
That would be great. Yeah.
All right.
I appreciate it so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Keep coming back.
Okay, bye.
Our purpose here is to be your lifeline. Okay, thank you. Who's next? Who's next, Chris?
I've been here for a little while. I really appreciate this topic today, stop shooting yourself in the foot, because that's exactly what I do with the diet. I get it to work, I get it going, and I have come to the conclusion, really in my mind, that as soon as it's like when I hit that point where I'm really killing them off and I'm really doing well, I get these crazy cravings for carbs and sugar. It's like an alcoholic. Like I can't think about anything else. And so what I'm calling to ask you about today is, what tools did you guys use? I know using the diary. My diary would be perfect. My diary is perfect. And then boom, a day of just craziness. And then it's like I get back on it again. And it's not working. I want to.
Okay. You weren't on last Sunday's call?
I couldn't know last Sunday.
That was the topic. That was the topic. Okay. And the email went out Friday that has the link to it, because that was exactly the topic, how to deal with those cravings and temptations.
Okay, thank you then.
So, yes, thank you. Okay, who's next?
First one says, I am scheduled to be vaccinated next week. I want to prepare in case I have a reaction. They say Tylenol will help with vaccine reactions. Am I allowed to have Tylenol with calendula? Please advise.
Well, Tylenol is acetaminophen, and you're allowed to have acetaminophen with any of these organisms. However, using it just for that particular purpose is no big deal. But man, any of you out there who are using Tylenol or any of the NSAIDs on a regular basis containing acetaminophen, you are killing yourself. You are killing yourself slowly. It's like arsenic, because it uses up glutathione, your glutathione stores. It uses them up. It affects your liver. And you see these things on TV now about Johnson & Johnson being sued with their baby powder, and you're going to see this happening too pretty soon with all these these drug companies and what it's doing to your body. So please get rid of them as much as possible. Do not depend on them on a routine or daily basis. It has nothing to do with Morgellons, but we are here to deal with health, because basically everybody who goes through this program and comes out the other end free of organisms will tell you they're healthier today than they were before, and a lot of that is we also deal with general health as well. Yeah, Robin. Yes.
I just want to say, if you're going to take something like Tylenol, try to get tablets instead of capsules because of the gelatin. And
right.
The other thing that really helps before you get vaccinated is to drink lots of water.
Oh, that's a good idea. Good tip.
It flushes out toxins, and it lowers the chance of having reactions. They recommend drinking like a whole bunch of water before you go to get vaccinated.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, Mary, who's next? What's next?
Next is Jeff in Minnesota, and he says he's had Morgellons for 15 years, and he asks, Butter. I see there are about 40 types of butter on the supermarket shelf. Sweet cream butter, salted butter. What specifically is the butter that we should use?
I have never seen that. That must be a monstrous kind of supermarket. Well, you get in our supermarket that are pretty super. We get maybe ghee and 2 or 3 types of butter, but that's it. Got to read the ingredients. Got to read the ingredients.
Just butter. It doesn't matter if it's salted or unsalted.
Right.
Irish or American. I mean, Irish butter tastes better, I'll tell you that. But
yeah,
butter is butter is butter.
Butter is butter. Just read those ingredients. If it's got anything other than butter in there, and nix it. Do not use any butter substitutes. Do not use any butter blends. When you go to restaurants, you need to question: is the food prepared in butter? And if they say yes, oh, wonderful. But is it a blend or is it real butter? Because if it's a blend, no good. You got to nix it.
Oils.
No oils. Okay. All right. Another question?
there are a ton of healthy, all fruit water, infused water, veg juices, none of which we can drink in stage 1.
Right.
Right. Yeah. Nix them all. They are not healthy in the first place. They put in additives, and I mean, they are not healthy. They abuse the word health.
She says, Richard, I've had a horrible resurgence of calembola in the past 8 months. I have gone back to your awesome diet, which is the only thing that keeps me sane. I went into remission for 6 years from your diet and was able to eat anything I wanted. That, over the years, is what created the resurgence. I wonder if this condition worsens with age, as I can't seem to create the remission state as easily at the age of 52. I can't imagine staying on this diet for the rest of my life, but the itching is keeping me awake at night, and I'm really getting hopeless. I wanted to ask, is canned tuna and water okay? Thank you for creating the diet. It has truly saved my life.
Canned tuna, light canned tuna and water, I believe would be okay. This goes to what we constantly say. There's never a cure. You can get your life back. You can live naturally and healthy and eat just about anything you want within reason for a long, long time, within reason. I invited Amy to be a guest, and I didn't hear back from her, because I think hearing from her directly would be super. It would be so insightful and inspirational that you can get your life back. And yeah, we do make mistakes. Robin? Yeah.
I just wanted to say, in terms of her getting reinfested, I mean, being on the diet is a factor if there's an infestation. But the thing is, with climate change, springtails have become more prevalent in the environment outside our homes, and they come in. So, it could just be climate change. There's springtails in the soil all around her home, and she hasn't dealt with the outside at all. I'm not saying I'm sure she needs to go back on the diet and deal with the environment, but I'll bet you it was environmental.
It's hard to say. I tend to think it was probably she abused the diet like I've done many times and got on a strawberry binge kick because my wife buys them. My wife buys them at Costco, and you don't get just 2 dozen strawberries. You get this big thing, and you don't want them to go spoiled, so you eat a couple, 3 every day, and it becomes a problem. Or you eat a watermelon, and I've been since 1995 to now. I'd say I've had maybe 5 reinfections over my life, and sometimes it seemed like, oh God, this is really terrible. I don't know how I did it the first time. The second or third time seemed more difficult. There were times where I thought, well, maybe maybe it's not going to work this time again for me. Maybe it's not. All these doubts come, but you do the program, it does work. And of course, now we have 2 other things that we can look to that can help us deal with it. and that is our Nature's Gift Herbal Parasite Stop formula. Can help make things easier. I have to apologize. We've had it in stock sporadically. we had just got it in a week ago, and we were sold out in 2 days, and we should have some back in stock on probably Tuesday or Wednesday at the latest. But the Parasite Stop Herbal Formula is a collection of herbs that reduce dopamine uptake in the brain. And if you go read the book and look at the studies, there's an indication that reducing dopamine uptake in the brain, typically through the use of certain medications like Orap and Zyprexa and their Seroquel and Neurontin, there are about maybe a dozen, even Abilify, that have a similar effect. But instead of going that route, we can go the herbal route now, and it's amazing. This stuff does work. So that's one thing. We've just added, thanks to Mary, we've added pheromones to the store as well, and they're also available. And I'll be probably putting out an update in the next couple of days when we get our new supply in of pheromones. So there are these other things that you can also do to help make the diet kick in or work better for you faster and be. Yeah. Okay. Well,
I'd like to address the tuna issue. You have to be really careful with canned tuna in water because they're starting to add soy into the canned tuna. Your best bet is probably to go the all-natural route. Go to the health food aisle in your grocery store and look for the tuna that's like in a sealed bag, and it's much more natural, and it doesn't have any additives in it.
Thank you. Yes, definitely. So always read the ingredients. Always read the ingredients. And the King Diet, it's been newly revised. I'll be putting a publication out soon. So Robin, she helped me go over the stage 1, and we revised it and made some modifications, some additions, and things like that. So the more recent issue will be issued soon.